Some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you want to be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up.
Welcome to Tales from the Field. My name is Bradley Ball, and it is so good to have you with us. We are back and better than ever. Last week, we had Daniel Tiller deliver ADS, Azure Data Studio, the September release 1.46 Managed SQL Server and Azure SQL with new features. Then on Tuesday, we had our Azure Data Community Roundtable. And then on Wednesday, we released how to create a Microsoft Teams alert in Microsoft Fabric data pipelines. Then on Monday, Daniel Tiller was back again with the new free Azure SQL database, how to be able to, it's now available, how to be able to provision and how to configure this. Wow, so much to do, so much to see. You don't want to miss a thing. This is your first time finding your way over to Tales from the Field. Give us a like and give us a subscribe. We drop content every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Today is Tuesday, and it is your Azure Data Community Roundtable, where we bring you links from the creators in the community. If you want to interact with the show, it is so incredibly easy to do. So all you have to do is make a comment on the stream, and one of my amazing co-hosts will find that comment and they will add it to the show, and you will be a part of the show. Want to interact with the show? It's so easy. So go and do that. And of course, before I get any further, let me introduce those amazing co-hosts of mine. I am joined by Daniel Taylor, Josh Ludeman, and more insightful than Coach Beard dropping truth, it's your friend and mine, Niraj Jafari. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. We are packed and we have so much information. We got a quick call for action. If this is your first time over here, what is this about? This is about the Azure Data Community, and we want you to join the Azure Data Community. So make sure to head over to the Azure Data Community website on the Microsoft website, where we sponsor user groups, and find a user group near you. So that way you can interact with all these wonderful people who are live and around the world. Maybe you find a new job. Maybe you find a solution to a problem you've been having, network, community, all that great stuff. And that's where you're going to go to be able to figure it out. But while you're figuring that out, the next thing you want to figure out is how to get some free training. And for that, you go to SQLSaturday.com. And over at SQLSaturday.com, next up, we have SQL Saturday Orlando. This Friday, we are almost there. I was going to say we've got a lot of attendees. We've already sent out our pre-registration list. Super, super excited. But myself, Daniel Taylor, Josh Ludeman, Buck Woody, we are all doing full day on Microsoft Fabric for the data professional, and we are so excited to do so. Those are going to be live in-person events. Oh, hey, look, it's our good buddy Will is here. Go learn Microsoft Fabric with Will. Will, how you doing? It's great to have you. We have had so many of Will's videos that we have featured in the past. So glad to have you with us, Will. And you got to check out his great content. I believe we always talk about his dulcet tones, but Will has one of the best voices on YouTube. Make sure and go check out Will. Hope you're doing good, man. So, of course, after we hit SQL Saturday, where's the next place we want to go? Well, we want to head over to Data Saturday, where you have virtual events from all over the globe, and you want to make sure and go check that out. You're going to have Microsoft MVPs. You're going to have some of the top consultants and creators in the world. You're going to have people working with the things that you're working with and finding solutions. You want to make sure and go check those things out. And then, of course, we've got one last thing I want to tell you about, and that is, of course, our Microsoft Learn group for Microsoft Fabric. You can see right there, we've got some articles. Stan Wynot's, his article is going to be coming up later in the fact check. There's Sam Darwin. So many wonderful things from him as well. Make sure and go and join this. We're getting close to, I want to say, 1,300 users. 1,300 different subscribers and people all coming together. Looking forward to sharing that Fabric data community with our friends, the Fabricators, and Will is doing great. That is very good to see.
And that's where we found Will inside our right there within the Fabric Learn group. That's where Will posted some stuff, and we're like, yeah,
absolutely. So this week we had an incredibly busy weekend. Speaking of busy, Andreas Padilla had a last-minute emergency. He may join us while the show is in progress. If not, we're going to do our best to cover his links All the links for all the content are in the description. So please go make sure to check out the great content by the creators in the community. It was a busy weekend. Thursday, we had Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween with myself and Dan and Josh and Buck. Friday, Sue went to Boys to Men. I went to my good friend Garrett Swanpool, his sister Tessa. She had her birthday party. I went over to that. And then on Saturday, me and Josh and our wives and his daughters, we went to the UCF versus Baylor football game. I think on Sunday we passed out. Niraj, how were things up in the New York, New Jersey area?
It was just rain, crazy rain. We hit, like if you saw the news, crazy on Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, it just kept on going. So, was okay for my side, but I mean, a couple of my friends' basements got flooded and all of them, so we're just helping them out. Was good though.
Excellent. Josh, so let me ask you, what did you enjoy more? The UCF t-shirt that you won on Saturday or you wore on Saturday, or the Wrexham jersey that you wore on Thursday? It's toss up, I think.
Well, and I know what you're angling for with that question because the UCF t-shirt you grabbed for me while I was doing something else. However, the Wrexham jersey, hands down. Sorry.
Absolutely. I was going to say Saturday morning I was watching the Wrexham match and talk about a come from behind to be able to get a draw, so that way we were at least got a point in the standings.
I had a question.
And then the story of Saturday going from the come from behind with Wrexham to the let's lose it in the end game with UCF. It was a tale of
two cities
of heart making and heartbreaking all in one day.
Yeah, go ahead, Niraj.
So for the scary, not so scary Mickey night, who was the most scariest one? Or did you guys dress up also, or you just went normal?
I'm always the scariest.
Well, I was going to say I definitely dressed up, but I don't know that we've put that picture online. Maybe I'll have to post that on Twitter while somebody's talking, and then we can add a link to that. But let's just say my goal was to be Peter B. Parker from the Spider-Verse movies, and I think I pulled that off pretty good.
Nice. And man with the hat, did he dress up?
I just was a Wrexham supporter, so I can't say I was scary unless if you support a team that's in the same league with Wrexham, then maybe you were intimidated. Otherwise, no. I couldn't scare anyone. So.
No. I was going to say he wasn't scary, but you know what would be scary if we don't go ahead and get over to the fabulous content that we've got as a part of the data community. And first up, I have someone who is just renowned for their unbelievable taste in wonderful information. And of course, I'm talking about the one, the only Mr. Niraj Jafari, with powering the next generation of digital operations with Windows IoT and Azure Kubernetes services.
So, I mean, as the data keeps on growing, now most of the data is collecting through IoT devices, right? I mean, one of the surveys that was done says 62% of data is now at some point of time is going to come from IoT devices or some type of devices that is going to be generating it out. So, Megha Tiwari wrote down a good article where she's showing how to collect this data through Kubernetes and bringing it up for processing part of it. The beauty is, just to save the cost and the processing power of it, you want to process most of your data to the device end of it and then bring the data into it. So it's faster. You get real-time data in there. She's going through all the steps one by one, how to process this out. Also, the security concept is showing how to do the security part of it and enabling the hardware supports and the ecosystems that you want to build it up. And then she has a couple of links how to get started building that whole environment. And I think there's also a Git repository also in there, and also Learn documents also. So she shows you how Learn documents goes from videos also in there. So pretty nicely done article.
Excellent. Good stuff. And speaking of good stuff, this was some good stuff that I found this morning, and it was wonderful to see this announced. As a matter of fact, this is going to be the subject of the video that I drop tomorrow. Dan was helping me work through the demo earlier today. And this is by our good buddy Stan Wynot. And Stan is part of the Microsoft Fabric product group. He has a wonderful show on the Azure Synapse Analytics, the Microsoft Fabric channel over on YouTube, which is Espresso with Sten, and it's Fabric Espresso now. It used to be Synapse Espresso. You want to go check out that show and make sure you're subscribed. I know I am. And this is column level and row level security for the Fabric warehouse and SQL endpoint. And that's incredibly exciting. So first up, there's column level security, which restricts specific codes that or columns that people can see. And then we've got row level security, whereby our rows, the roles that we have within Intra ID, formerly, of course, Microsoft Azure Active Directory, we can actually create a role, assign people to it, and then use that to be able to filter out our roles. I've got some demos, a little bit of sample content that we'll put out on our GitHub repository as well to go with the video, so people can grab this if they want to run this for themselves. All you have to do is actually have access to Fabric, because one of the things I'm going to show is how you can actually validate that this approach works from a single user perspective. This was a lot of fun to read. This was very exciting to see out past the private preview into the public preview. I'm very excited for that content.
This was a big one today morning, right? Because a lot of customers have been asking this up for Fabric, row level security or column level security, and bringing it right before September end, when people are thinking about securities. This was a really big one to this announcement.
Absolutely. This was absolutely fantastic. And it was great to be able to see this in place. And I'm going to be able to demo both of those. I'm super excited about that. So this, I was going to say, this is going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to doing that update share that we have with Bradley Schatt. Speaking about something that I'm excited about, I saw this, and I am always excited for the intelligence and articulation of my next presenter. Of course, I'm talking about the one, the only, Mr. Daniel Taylor, who has SQL Server Fast, our good buddy Hugo Cornelius, an update on Merge. Dan, what do we got going on here?
Yeah, great article by Hugo here. Also, I want to do a callback real quick, Brad, to one of the videos you mentioned earlier on your alerts through Fabric. I thought that was an excellent video, and if folks haven't gone and checked that out yet, I really recommend going back and watching that. It wasn't popping to the top of our channel, and I want folks to go back and watch that because it was an excellent article. But back to Hugo here real quick. So Aaron Bertrand and Michael Stewart, two really smart individuals that I put up here when I want to talk about T-SQL and performance, right? Hugo went back, and Hugo's a super intelligent individual as well, and he went back to look at their articles to discuss merge statements. And with SQL Server 2022, a lot of folks are going back and reviewing, hey, do we have these performance issues with certain items within the new intelligent query processor, with all the changes they've done with the optimizer? Well, Hugo goes through 11 different issues here, and I won't walk through each of them because it's a great read, and I want folks to go out there and read it themselves. But he provides a summary, a verification, a conclusion, and then his verdict. So he gives you 4 pieces of what he's testing with each of the each individual solution with the merge statement. And he came up with some great conclusions, right? And I want folks to read those, but then he sums it up in the conclusion, and the last paragraph pretty much sums it all up. Do not use merge with delete action. Do not use merge to target a temporal table. Outside of that, he found a lot of good results with merge. Excellent article, Hugo. Thank you so much. Also, thank you for connecting on LinkedIn recently. So,
hello, Brad. Welcome to the show. It's great to have you here with us. We appreciate you. And Dan, I appreciate you bringing up Hugo. Hugo, of course, have a great love for him. He's been a big part of the SQL Server community for a long time. And he is always in depth, and he is always very technical. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. So Andreas Padilla. Oh, go ahead.
No, when you say MVP, he comes to mind, right?
Absolutely. So Andreas Padilla again had a last minute emergency, had to step away, but we didn't want to lose the links and the people that he wanted to highlight. So I'm going to highlight this article by Hank Bullman, how to use cognitive services and containers. Hank is a great, great individual that we have working over at Microsoft. Super smart. Did an amazing keynote with Buck Woody last year at Live 360. Which was, I mean, just literally there were jaws on the floor with some of the stuff Hank was doing, and it was fantastic. In here, he's talking specifically about running cognitive services in a Docker container. He's got a great video that you can play to be able to see this in action. He talks about what are containers, when to be able to use the cognitive services containers, features and benefits we have, what is currently available with links to the documentation, how to use the cognitive services and containers, generic workflows. And then he's got a tutorial for us to be able to run all this. Lots of great stuff, very, very detailed. But if you are looking for a guide on how to be able to use cognitive services and containers, you want to make sure and go check this out. Great stuff from Andreas. And of course, when I think of great stuff, that naturally leads me to this next individual who always provides the great stuff. And of course, I'm talking about the one, the only Mr. Josh Ludeman with Microsoft Fabric deployment pipelines.
Yeah, so this is actually a great article from, and I'm going to say Mr. Eskins, just because pronunciation, I will get this wrong completely. But what he goes through here is really just walking you through as the reader, setting up a good dev test prod deployment strategy, right? So he goes through talking about setting up the separate workspaces for each one, and then using Git and the functionality in there for deployment pipelines. So he walks you through all those pieces, including creating the pipelines and all that stuff. It's actually a really good article.
I was going to say that is fantastic stuff, and I love it that it's all so detailed. Great, a lot of love to you, but we appreciate you, and we really appreciate you following along with us. Thank you so much, my friend. But I love the detailed content that we have here, Josh. This is just absolutely wonderful stuff. I love how detailed it is, and that's one of the things that we have not yet dove into on our videos, but that is coming soon, and I'm really looking forward to us getting some of that Git content together. Speaking of something that I'm looking forward to, whenever this man speaks, I am looking forward to it. I am sitting there with eager anticipation. Of course, I'm talking about the one, the only Mr. Niraj Jafari with sending Azure cost management to Azure Data Explorer Fabric KQL database.
So this was, I mean, I was just playing around with one of the customers' requests, and I found this article, very interesting article by Brad Watts. He goes over how to move Azure cost management to using Data Explorer into Fabric using KQLDB. So he's given a whole architecture. I mean, if you go down, Brad, there's a whole architecture how you can set it up, and then as you press, once you understand the architecture, he also has a Git repository where you can go. He has a CLI commands that can bring all these things, set it up for you. So as soon as all you need to do is follow the prerequisite, press the start command where it goes to a AZ CLI command, brings all this data into it on your environment, and then in Power BI you can see the reports in like what cost management reports that you're looking for. It also shows a sample, I think, at the bottom. Yep, there's a sample at the bottom of it where it shows Power BI report how it would be going it in that. Very easy to do it. I mean, few commands and you could set this whole thing up in a very easy way to do it.
And the great thing is, you can see if you click on this, it's going to take you straight over to the GitHub repository. So that way you are able to access the GitHub repo and put this together. Wonderful, wonderful stuff, Niraj. I absolutely love it. I was going to say it's critically important for people to understand how to be able to deploy these things. So up next, I have, I was going to say, I was surprised that this wasn't taken, but I have the Microsoft Fabric September 2023 update. I'm not going to run everything through this because as you can see from all the links in here, linking to other items, there's a lot of stuff. They go through core with Monitoring Hub and OneLake. We have a whole lot of availability with Power BI. We have visualizations. We have under Synapse, we have data warehouse. You can see there's the column level security amongst other announcements as well. Data engineering, real-time analytics. What you want to do is you want to go make sure and read through this, because depending on the services you're using, and there's so many services in Microsoft Fabric, um, you want to make sure to understand how this applies to you, because keep in mind, this new functionality is being released very much in cadence to how Power BI used to get releases. That's why there's so much Power BI at the beginning of this, because that's their standard release protocols. So you want to keep an eye out when this happens, because these are going to be announcements from the product group. And right now, when we are in the public preview of the service, we are going to be getting things that are in private preview that customers may be working on and testing that become publicly available for us to begin utilizing. Great example is that row level security that we've got. Next up, of course, when I think of the great stuff that we've got in Fabric, I saw this, and this is just intriguing. It's fascinating, and I couldn't help but go, hey, what is this about? Mr. Daniel Taylor, you're up next with our good friend Sam DeBrun, which is Microsoft Fabric just a rebranding?
Go play your Pac-Man, Mr. Ludeman. This is me. No, this, so Sam once again threw out a gem, and this is perfect. And it's an outsider's perspective, a cloud data solution architect's perspective of, is it Fabric just a rebranding? Goes through all of the popular services, Power BI, Data Factory, Data Activator, Synapse, all the different pieces, right? And like, for example, OneLake rebranding or ADLS Gen 2. No, it's not a rebranding. It builds on a lot of new components that we didn't have previous to, and we can do all of the shortcuts now, right? The other one that I thought was wonderful was the Apache Spark and Lakehouse rebranding from Synapse Spark. And the way Sam puts it is, yeah, we may have started with Spark, but there's so many enhancements in the new Spark pool and how it works and how it functions. And the fact that we have all the new features in Spark are wonderful. T-SQL rebranding, this was another favorite of mine because I'm a dedicated pool type person. I love the dedicated pool, but this isn't a rebranding of that. This is an MPP, and we spoke about this in a previous roundtable. This is the Polaris engine, folks. This is not a rebranding. This is a new way for us to access data bigger, better, badder, and faster. So another awesome article here put together by Sam, and definitely worth a read if you have folks saying to you within your architecture or within your corporation, this is just a rebranding of the analytics workspace. It's not, folks. There's some similar components, but it's a whole new ball game.
Very nice. Very nice.
Biggest change is it's SaaS versus PaaS, right? I mean, in Synapse or any other component, you maintain it out. In this, Microsoft does the maintenance. So that's the biggest change in there.
Well, and I think part of it is, if you think about the old way that Apple used to advertise themselves, it just works, right? You have a phone, it connects to your laptop, it connects to your iPad, the text messages connect to your watch. It just works. And the whole concept, I think, when we start to get into OneLake, is really, it just works. If we've got everything sitting there going in OneLake, your data is accessible by any engine you want without having to go through the painful issues that people have traditionally had to do in the past of complex data movement. And OneLake is what makes that possible. It's a dream, I think, that we've all had for a long time, to be able to have that operational query engine, to be able to use the best tool for the best job over whatever data that you can bring to the table. And we are so close to getting there. There's a lot of great stuff in Fabric. Again, another quick link from Andreas Padilla that we want to make sure and get out. This one is from Cassie Brevu. Cassie has deployed machine learning models on Onyx runtime with Azure Functions. I thought this was very interesting because Onyx runtime models are a specific code set of models that you may be using. You may remember in Synapse dedicated pools, you could actually import an Onyx model to be able to invoke with the predict function. And so being able to use this in an Azure function is more of the correct space to be able to use that. But how we can call that is really, really unique. And there's a great video that Cassie has right here, which I would encourage you to look. And then there's the steps to be able to deploy the Azure functions, how to be able to get everything to put together, adding the model to this. And I love it that she walks you through this. She's got a video to be able to help you understand. So if you're looking at how to be able to get Onyx models and how to be able to call them in an Azure function, this is a fantastic thing. And then, if you needed to, if you're looking at data enrichment, you could very easily take that that Azure function and you could have that called from within a data pipeline because you have the capability to call that. There were some new things in the September update about data pipelines. Maybe we'll get to that later, but we've got the new custom task back in place that used to be used so often within Azure Data Factory. So that way we could hit different APIs and web applications that we need to hit. Really, really good stuff. And when I say good, I don't mean just good. I mean great when I think of the next person who's about to present, because I saw this and I was fascinated and I went, hey, this is really cool. I wonder what we've got here. It seems very, very in depth and detailed. And of course, I'm talking about Mr. Josh Ludeman with the data science, the Fabric data science GitHub repository. Tell me about this, Josh.
Yeah, so it's from Claudio, and it's actually a pretty simple, nice little GitHub repo, but it walks you through using data science within Microsoft Fabric. He provides 4 different Jupyter notebooks with different walkthroughs step by step in each one. Also, as part of it, he talks through at the end of the README about a Power BI report that can be created off of there. The nice thing is he utilizes some of the existing demos that are out there in docs, but again, walks through it a little bit differently, gets into some different things outside of those demos, so really enhances them, and for me, trying to get outside of just basic data engineering and things like that, and look at real, streaming data sets and things like that with Fabric and data science. This one just popped out at me as a great repo to dive into and go take it a different angle going into data science with Fabric. So absolutely loved it. Wanted to share it.
I love stuff like this because it makes it really easy to get that hands-on experience.
Yeah, it's really easy to use those existing demos, but for me to really iron it home, at least for me, is to look at it again from a different use case, different scenario, different angle.
Oh, Danny boy. This is a great article. Love that there is a repo, Danny boy. I love it that you're here hanging out with us. What a great name. I just love that. Dan, you've got to love that too. I was going to say it's almost as good as Brad 3. Not quite, but almost there.
Yeah.
All right.
For some reason, when I think of Josh, I think of McRib. So Josh is my McRib sandwich. Always wonderful and tasty when he comes around.
You know what? Before
next article,
I was going to say, but before it can get more awkward, let me go to someone who's always willing to bring us back up to the level that we should be operating at, and that is Mr. Niraj Jafari. And he has Data Mesh, a perspective on using Azure Synapse Analytics to build data products.
So I'm a little bit old article, but just because I was just talking to a customer, understanding data mesh, right? Data mesh is a brand new concept that probably a couple of years old, and I was trying to understand. Explaining to a customer what data mesh would be. It's a little bit complex sometimes if you don't do it correctly, and I wanted to drive that up, and that's why I brought this article up. Data mesh can definitely be doing in Fabric. So I know it's related to Synapse, but the same architecture can be followed in Fabric, and you can do the same things that that is shown up in this article. Nicely written article by Amanjit Singh. He shows the architecture first, how to do it, and what are the components that we need to use it up in the data mesh architecture. And then he breaks it down into consume, transform, and serve data layers. The whole articles, bringing it up what components would go to which layer, which really helps you out, right? Pipeline building or getting easier consume layer in your notebooks or data flows or Spark pools, you really do is transforming your data, right? And then you serve the data to to different things using different scenarios in there. He breaks it up, very nicely done breakup in there, and then he also goes up building the whole which scenarios and all this stuff. So which is really very interesting to do it. The customer liked it just because he was brand new to data mesh. I'm now trying to build the same architecture using the Fabric for him, and that definitely is something that even if you are data mesh architecture in Synapse, you can build the same existing one in Fabric also. So you should not be worried about it.
Excellent, excellent. I was going to say, so I was going to say, I love that. I love the detail, and it's important to keep in mind that that article was written by the Synapse CSC team, and where is the Synapse CSC team now? Well, it's part of FabricCat. I mean, so that FabricCat team that has been building these data mesh architectures has been doing it for quite some time. So as we get into the point in time where we get recommendations from them, we get articles from that team. It's very important to understand there's a long history, longer than just the name Microsoft Fabric, right? Where that FabricCat team has been around for a long time and have been working with some of our biggest and best customers. So a lot of great stuff we can still glean from those articles. Speaking of something to glean, I was looking specifically for how to be able to do a decimal display in Power Query. And that is when I came across the Joyful Craftsman, and it was Deng the Trung. On now, that was his name on LinkedIn, and then it was a little bit different on the blog. So, Deng, I hope that I am getting everything right for your name, but we've also got you on LinkedIn. So let me know if I got anything wrong, but it was a wonderful article. This was also via SQL Server Central, which is one of the oldest repositories that we have on the web, which is an aggregation of blogs. It's a place that you can go to be able to get help. So you want to go, if you're not a member at SQL Server Central, I think the second I became a DBA, or maybe even before I realized my title was a DBA, I was over in SQL Server Central. It's a great place to be able to find these blogs. And this is also via the Joyful Craftsman blog that they're doing this, but it was a really great one to be able to show the custom format, show how we could set this up, and how we could have our custom column to be able to have this decimal execution. And again, sometimes it's just the simple things that you need to figure out, but it was a great blog, very thorough. Now he's using this as Power Query within Excel, but you could absolutely use this as Power Query within Power BI as well. So really nice, really great way to be able to display this. I was looking for those percentage columns, and this definitely helped me out this week. So great stuff. Speaking of great stuff, this next blog is by someone who I just absolutely love. One of my favorite people on the planet. And so the fact that another one of my favorite people on the planet was bringing this to us was just so good. And it is Mr. Daniel Taylor bringing us, announcing the public preview of enhanced patching for SQL Server on Azure VMs with Azure Update by none other than the great Taryn Pratt.
Taryn is just one of those wonderful individuals that you need to speak with just every once in a while. And I owe a call to Taryn because I haven't spoke with in some time now. So Taryn reached out to me, and I totally forgot about this blog that she put out there. And it brings to light that we now have the Azure Update Manager for SQL Server. So if you have SQL Server on a VM, you can now, with Azure Update Manager, control your automatic patching through a unified console, right? So now we.
I was going to say, but potato, automatic. I didn't hear anything wrong.
I think I'm gonna coin phrase automatic. So you have your automatic tasks here, and you can perform one-time updates. You can set update management. You can set a schedule. The thing that I find most, and I'm kind of playing around with, I had to spin up a lot of VMs. Shh, don't tell Josh. But I want to do schedules based on business needs. So if you have a dev environment, a staging environment, a prod environment, say for example, you could patch on Patch Tuesday. You could set the Azure Update Manager to patch those. Your folks could have a week to do the testing. Then you can roll out the changes to your other environment. Now, you still have the automatic patches that you could put on these servers, but this is a unified console to do this. So if I could do, we do a call to action for the community at the beginning. If I could call to action for any of the folks that watch our video or watch this post, give this a try, like within your environment. You don't need to do it in prod, but give it a try. Provide us the feedback, because we got a direct contact here for you. We can provide this and lift this feedback up to Taryn.
Well, and one of the things I would also say is Taryn was an amazing DBA for Stack Overflow before.
Yeah.
So one of the great things that we have, because she's on our product group, is that mindset specifically of how things actually work and what the order of operations you would want to occur from patching are, and how you would want to make sure you minimize downtime, you bring things up correctly. So yeah, Taryn's just fantastic.
And just so folks know, because a lot of us use AGs, it's not AG aware today. They need to get the testing in. Look, they have the goal that they would love to do that, but we need to get this testing initial rounds done before we add that. So anyhow,
Yeah, so I was going to say, just for non-AG servers, that's an important note that people need to make sure of. So next up, I'm going to share Andreas's last link, which is Azure IoT Certificates 101. When you look at the overall IoT strategy, this specifically is going to focus in on that little orange focus point right there of certificates. If you are not super familiar with certificates, if you're not familiar with the capability of how to be able to create them and how to be able to utilize them, this is a wonderful video for you, because none of us came out of the womb knowing all the knowledge that we know. We all had to learn somewhere. So this is a great video to be able to take on that 101 journey for certificates. And I was going to say it's by a source from Microsoft that is very, very trusted, and also that Andreas has linked to before. So you want to go check this out if you want to do some learning on certificates. And then last, but certainly not least, we have my good friend, the person who wears the hat, but apparently I have an issue with his link because I just looked at it and it's not showing up. So yeah, Josh, I can't show this because it says an invalid set of parameters has been sent to the URL. So can you talk for just a second? Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can find this video.
Maybe I can do it here. No, I can't because I got a funky monitor. But anyways, the article, and it's in. We'll double check the article in the description on YouTube. But it's as I like to do with the last link that I put out there on a daily basis, is it's from our good friend and teammate Karthik Yella here on the Fast Track team, and he does a great article where he digs into the well architected framework, but specifically performance efficiency in relation to Azure SQL Managed Instance. So he actually goes through the performance pillar specifically around managed instance and goes through some specific best practices around getting the most performance out of your deployed Azure SQL Managed Instance. It's a great technical deep dive, including reminders about establishing your performance baselines, looking at and validating your performance across the environments from where you're migrating from to the managed instance. There's the beautiful article there from Karthik, and walks through some different paths to look at around tooling to use to figure out the right pricing, or the right, not right pricing, the right SKU or the right performance tier for your managed instance. Some ideas around optimizing performance, different resource limits, really good detailed as we expect from Karthik. As always, if you've seen any of his articles on the Azure SQL blog, just a great thing. And he gives some good things to look into afterwards, like Azure SQL Insights, using Grafana with with the SQL MI, all the good stuff.
Our good friend Bradley Shadd is there. Hey, Brad. I was going to say nothing but love for him. Best name in the business, Bradley Shadd. I love that guy. No.
He's already smart, starting so brilliant. Down low. Yeah,
I was going to say, and he knows the proper place of pizza. Number one in our hearts and in our minds. It's time for us to wrap it up. And as we go to the wrap up, one thing that we want to say is thank you so much to everyone who came out to Future Data Driven and attended the different sessions that we had. It was absolutely fantastic. We had a wonderful turnout, and those videos are going to be put up on their site. When we get those, we will share those out and make sure everybody else is just aware of where how they can find that stuff. Josh, I'm going to give it to you. Give it to me real quick. What time is it? Because we are almost there in November.
We are almost at November, where it is time to go to Universal Studios Orlando and hang out together talking tech at the wonderful Lowe's Royal Pacific Resort and Conference Center at Live 360.
Absolutely. This November, Bradley Shat. Oh my goodness, you
Amen.
stole my heart.
Amen,
that's
Mr.
so wrong. Pineapple and pepperoni all the way. Anyway, we're gonna go to Live 360. It's myself, Josh Ludeman, Niraj Jafari, Daniel Taylor's going to be there, Buck Woody's going to be there. We are presenting our pre-con on Microsoft Fabric. We will be rolling in all of the updates that came out last month, that come out this month. So there will be new content when we present this at Live 360. If you are attending our Orlando talk tomorrow, I'm sorry, not tomorrow, but Friday. Sorry, a couple days still to go. On Friday for SQL Saturday Orlando, we will be live on Friday teaching the Microsoft Fabric for the data professional. There's Mr. Andreas Padilla. We got all your links covered, buddy. Good to see you. And then stick around for Saturday because I've got a session. Karthik and Dan have a session. Josh, anybody else have sessions? Dan has two. Buck Woody has sessions. There's going to be so many wonderful people. Josh Owens, great to see you, buddy. Bradley Shad, thank you so much for joining us. Guys, I think that's everything, right?
No, that is everything right there. Nope. Stop doing it, Brad. Stop doing it.
Don't make me delete it. Don't make me delete it, Josh.
Just so everyone knows.
Pizza is hot garbage from our lovely viewer. We're gonna put
pineapple
that out
eats
there.
the human body, y'all. So that should say it all. Pineapple eats
exactly.
the human body.
So delicious on pepperoni. All right, take care, everyone. Thank you so much. Go get your pizza, pepperoni, thin New York slice, and have pineapple on it.
Wake up, early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some